Hello, my name is Marcella Tabai. I'm a third-year podiatry medical student at Midwestern University. I'm going into my fourth year soon in August. I'm making this video to go over how to study, how to prepare for APMLE Board Step 1 for a podiatry student, okay? The reason why I decided to make it is because, as you can see, these are the amount of knowledge and material that we go through over the course of 2 years. This is not even all of my notes, not all the books that I used to study. I still have like digital copies that I did not print, but those are the ones that I print. A lot of sticky notes and highlights and so much that we learn. So when I was taking that board, I was at the time pregnant. I was stressed. I sought help and advice from my professors, big sibs, and still I went online from like Student Network, multiple resources, and I was still like, gosh, like where do I even start? So I created my own schedule slash material that I wanted to like, okay, I'm gonna focus on those and that's all I'm gonna do, and I passed. So hopefully you will find this helpful, and if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them down below or contact me on the channel, on my Facebook, Instagram, and then I will try my best to address your questions, okay? So let's get started. Okay, so first off, I'm not a 4.0 student, and I'm not a 2.5 student. I'm average. At least that's what I consider myself. I don't know, maybe a lot of you are curious, that's why I addressed that piece of information. So first things first is getting myself oriented. I need to know how many questions is in the exam, what is the time that I have to finish those questions, and what are the topics covered. So the exam is 205 questions taken over 4 hours. You can take a break whenever you decide to. So at least when I took it, whenever you decide to take a break, you can pause. Time will continually be going, but then you can take your break and come back. And then last thing is, what are those topics? The topics are general anatomy, lower extremity anatomy, biochem, physiology, microimmuno into one, pathology and pharmacology. The majority of the exam, 25% of the 205 questions are lower extremity anatomy. And biochemistry makes up 10% of those questions. So it's a decision I made for myself, and I'm not telling you what to do for yourself. I'm telling you how I tackled the exam, what I personally did. I still studied for biochemistry and all the other things, but I was doing the most important stuff, the high yield. But for lower extremity anatomy, obviously, and that is our specialty at the end of the day, I poured my heart into it. So, what are the material that I used to study? As I showed you earlier, all of the notes I had, the first book I bought was APMLE Step 1 2019. If there is a new one for your year, please go ahead and buy it. This is, again, not a promotion, but it was worth it for me. And things to make your life easy, I just put sticky notes into each section. So like immuno, endocrine, GI, just so like I don't have to like look through to find like a specific section. The other thing that I did is that for a specific letter, I just put A, B, C, D. So I just pulled that letter if I'm looking for a word, and that's basically from the index. So that's how I organized myself. The other resource that I used to study is the BRS books. I use BRS for physio, general anatomy, and biochemistry. Now, I will go in details how I studied those ones. And the question bank that I utilized was World Vitals. It has about 1,000 questions, and it let you like custom your questions. Do you want to do like one specific topic, or you want to do mix? And that for me was helpful because it gives me the ability to like, okay, customize my day, what topic I want to study for. Okay, the last thing that I used to study, the last material, is Sketchy. Now, I did not use a Sketchy for everything. I only used Sketchy Micro. And I just loved that, Sketchy Micro. So when I did a Sketchy Micro, I used it along with the micro section in USMLE Step 1. So, okay, next I created 3 Word documents. What are they? One is progress report. The reason why I made this document is, for example, I would put May 1st, and then I would do like bullet, what did I study? Because you can easily get discouraged at the end of the day and be like, oh my God, I didn't do anything. So when you go into the progress report and you see, okay, I've done X amount of questions, I've done this chapter in that book. So it puts you on track, and it keeps you motivated because it tells you the amount of work you've been doing. The next document that I created was studying notes. Those studying notes were purely from questions that I missed on World Vitals, just so like I can easily like search those question back, or I can like highlight or make a note for myself. So I don't like go back into notebooks and can't find it. Okay, so those were, and then the last document that I created was the plan. So I took all the 7 subjects, I listed them, and then I put, okay, general, lower extremity anatomy, I put it at the top because it's 25% of the exam questions. And then I just arranged them from the most to the least number of questions. And then what I did next was, okay, so I put the resources that I decided I will use to review that topic. So, for example, microbiology, immunology. I put next to it 13%. What did I use to review for that subject was USMLE 1. And then the next bullet, what I would put is that I use a Sketchy Micro because I use both of those resources. I would watch the videos and I would take notes on the first aid. I would make notes, highlight, star, whatever, just annotate to keep me engaged. So that was for micro immunology. Physiology, what did I do? I used the BRS. It doesn't matter, I used the BRS. This was the 16 edition. I don't know if that was the newest, but honestly, even if you had like 2 editions back, that should be fine. And here is the thing. I labeled them. I labeled my sections. Why did I label them? Because those BRSs have questions at the end of each chapter, and I would review that chapter, do those questions, and at the end of the book, there is a comprehensive examination. It goes over all the topics. Now, here is the thing. When I said I used the BRS, I did not go through every single little detail. I had no time to do that. And I didn't want to, like, it's a lot of information and you just have to pick your battle and basically make your own judgment based on your school training, based on, okay, this is high yield, this is low yield. So this is, when I did the BRS, I paid close attention to the divisions of the topics. What does that mean? So divisions of the topic, take the endocrine for example. Those are the divisions of the topics. They are listed under, like, when it gives you the chapters, those are the divisions of the topic. So I would know those because those will keep my brain oriented. Endocrine, those are the things that I need to know. Now, under each thing, what do I want to know? So I would go into the topic and then I would pay close attention to bolded material, bolded tables. Those are the things that I would pay attention to. Drawings, I would pay attention to. So I'm not going to sit here and go over the entire. So again, bolded, drawings, and do the questions. Those are the three things I focused on when I did the BRSs: physiology, gross anatomy, and biochemistry. Okay? And then, obviously, if I come across a question on important vitals, then I would go back to those sections and review them really quick. You need to be able, and maybe not all of us are quick reviewer. Like, we don't all study in the same pace, but trust me, practice makes perfect. Today, your first day will be your longest day when you start your board preparation, and then as time goes by, you will get more efficient. You will do things faster. You will get the hang of it. Okay, how did I study for lower extremity anatomy? For lower extremity anatomy, I basically utilized my school notes. That's what I used. I also used the tables that was given in first aid, like those tests, for example, like Lachman test, stuff that was highlighted. And I used, what else did I use? I think that was mostly it. Yeah, pathology, I used first aid. Same thing with pharmacology, I used first aid. So a quick note on the first aid book, and that was something that I did not know. That might save you some time. The book is divided based on system. What does that mean? So like respiratory, renal, endocrine, etc. You will find pathology divided up based on those systems. You will find the medication at the end of each of those systems, okay? So you wouldn't, like, they wouldn't have a pharmacology section. It's not divided by discipline is what I'm trying to say. Additionally, this book, at the end of it, has high rapid review, and I definitely went through that. This rapid review gives you a condition and common treatment, or it gives you a lab diagnosis finding and which disease it's associated with. So I would go over this, like, say, when I'm having like my morning coffee or whatever, like if I'm chilling on the pool, I would go over it and then I would highlight whatever comes like to my head, like, okay, oh yeah, I had a question about this on Doctor vitals, or oh yeah, I remember this was important to emphasize in pathology or pharmacology class. So I would go and I would highlight them if I remember like exam questions from the past, because this section is really concise and to the point. So when I review it, as I mentioned, it would bring like flashes from like past exams. Oh yeah, we had a test question about this one. This must be important. Do I know what I need to know? I wouldn't go and look up the research on it, but so I would refresh. I would look at questions that are related. And that was it. For neuro, for example, I also purely used the first aid, and I went through that section. I I went over it and I was like, okay, so I paid attention to the strokes and how that would manifest into the human, like which side of the body would be paralyzed, etc. And there was a really nice table. There was mnemonic for there was mnemonic throughout the first aid book, and that was really helpful for me. The other thing that I paid attention to in the neuro was the visual field deficits. I'm not saying those are, I only studied the stroke and the visual field, but those are the things that I focused on when I did the neuro. Just keep in mind the reason why I mentioned neuro because it's embedded within physiology section, and that's why I talked about it. There are multiple resources for you to utilize to prepare for your boards. I wanted to pick specific resources so I don't go crazy. I picked first aid, BRS books, board vitals as a question bank resource, and a sketchy micro. Key component when I was preparing for my boards was repetition. So board vitals questions I did at least 3 times. 3 times going over board vital questions. Lower extremity anatomy, I would pick the questions specific to lower extremity and I did those 3 times. Okay, you visit it multiple times. Repetition, practice makes perfect. Sketchy micro, I watched the videos 3 times as well, and I would do it along with first aid. The more you repeat, the more those concepts will be solidified and the more prepared you will feel. Lastly, don't forget to sign up for the exam. Please sign up early so you wouldn't have to travel to like a foreign city. Eat and drink well the night before. Don't stress the day before. Just take it a break. I did not take it a break, but that was not a good idea because the next morning I woke up and I was feeling sick. Part of it could be pregnancy, but it's still sleep well the night before and just go ready. And trust me, you made it this far. You can do this. I hope you found this video helpful. The biggest compliment you can give me is that you share it with your friends so you can help them as well. Whoever is in first year who wants to have like an overview or like expectation, second year especially, I want to wish you best of luck. You made it this far again, and I'm sure, I have faith that you can make it. Thank you and have a wonderful day.